This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. So what you see on your screen is a picture of my home screen. The reason I say it's my home screen, although it is going to be the same home screen that you have, mine will look different because this home screen is customized to your liking visually. If you don't like where you have a certain widget and these little boxes, each one of these little boxes is called a widget. If you don't like where it is positioned on your screen, you can hover over the banner, wait till the crosshairs forms, and you can move it around wherever you want it to be. Each one of these widgets can move to a different spot. The only one you will not be able to move is the news and alerts. Consequently, you will also never be able to minimize this widget or exit out of it. If you notice the other widgets over here in the search, there is a minimize and a rollout button. There's also the exit button. So you can do that with all of the widgets on the screen except for news and alerts. The only other box on this screen that you can't ever delete, but you can move it around and you can minimize it, is the additional widget right here. The reason being is because anything that you exit out of on this home screen goes into this additional box. So if you are used to using something on your home screen and one day it's not there, chances are you probably just exited out of it by mistake and it has gone to this additional box. If you want to bring that widget back out, all you do is hover over it, click, and drag it back out onto your screen. So you just hover over, click, drag it back out. Okay, so now what I'll do, I'm just going to go over the widgets that I have up on the screen. These are the ones that you may or may not use as an admin. If you do not use it, you certainly have the power to take it and put it in your additional box and never see it again. But I'll just kind of go over them and the basic uses for these types of widgets. The most important widget that I would say on this screen is our news and alerts. The reason it's so important is because this is how we here at the MLS will communicate to you anything we feel is important for you to know. And that includes administrative assistants, brokers, real estate agents, appraisers, anybody who uses the MLS. We will put stuff in this news and alerts that is important to you. Each one of these alerts will come in form of a pop-up on your screen when you log in. So when you first get one of these alerts come across your screen, you will have 3 different choices at the bottom. It will say print, I will read this later, or I have read this. You need to click on one of those in order to get this to disappear from your screen for the moment. Of course, if you click print, it's going to print. If you click I have read this, this will then find its home in this widget and stay there until it expires. You can bring it back out again anytime you want to look at it to reference. If you click on I will read this later, this bubble will disappear for the time being, but will pop up on your screen every time you log in until you say you have read it. Each one of these has a level of importance. If there is a yellow block right beside the alert, that means it is of high importance, whether it's to you or to an agent or to a broker. That is when the print tab would come into play. If you find that it is something you need to keep referring to or referencing, certainly print it out, because once this alert expires, we cannot retrieve it back. We do have a very diligent office manager. Her name is Sandy. So if you do forget to print something out that you wanted to reference, you can always call our office and see if Sandy may have printed it out. She does try to do that for every alert that comes through, just so she has reference of it. And if anybody ever has any questions about it, she can at least go back through her files and say, oh yes, okay, this is what it was. So chances are she may have printed that out. So that is our news and alerts widget. Again, you can't ever move this widget or delete it or minimize it. Briefly, the next two widgets that I have down here is called Hot Sheets and Market Watch. The Hot Sheets and Market Watch, they pretty much do the same thing, except Hot Sheets can be customized to you specifically or an agent specifically. You can choose a certain area, price range in a home, the type of home, how many bedrooms, bathrooms, school district. You can customize it like you would do a search and have that set in this hot sheets. And then when you click on it daily, you would see a count of anything that comes across that's in your specific criteria. So it keeps an eye of everything going on in a specific area that you have chosen. Market Watch does the same thing, except it keeps an eye on everything MLS wide. So you can customize the property type. You can customize how often you want to see the it refresh. So it would be every 24 hours, just today, every 3 days or 7 days. You would just click on refresh down here if you're logged in and you want to keep an eye on it. You just have to periodically keep refreshing and it'll refresh these numbers. If you want to look at all of the property types at one time, you can always click on cross property. Cross property is a combination of every single property type that you see here. So if you clicked on that, then you would see everything here, which would be cross property happening MLS wide. So those are the two, Market Watch and Hot Sheets. The next widget I have up here is your search widget, and I am going to come back to that because that's something that an administrator would definitely need to utilize to look up certain listings or addresses or properties. I am going to come back to that one and go a little bit more in depth in that. But this is going to be your quickest point of reference to finding a property in the MLS, meaning it is not very specific, but it would be your quickest way to find a property. The next tab I have here is my favorite searches. When you are doing a search, mainly for agents, I would say, but if they're doing a search, you can save a search into your favorites and you can save up to 10 of those at a time in your widget. So if you like to search that you were looking at, you want to keep an eye on it, you can save it to a favorite and then have this quick point of reference to go back and forth to it. Recent portal visitors, this is mainly going to be, I would say, for agents, and excuse me, unless an agent or a broker asks you to go in and check an auto email for them. But this is whenever an auto email is set up for a client, and that client then views the auto email in their portal. Once they view their portal, their name will come up here in this widget, and then the agent or whomever needs to access that information can then go into here and see what they favorited, any possibilities, notes, anything like that. Okay, so then I'm going to go back home. Recent use contacts. When you have contacts saved in your computer into your MLS, any of them that you are in contact with recently would show up under this recent use contacts widget. If you wanted to access all of your contacts, that would be under My Matrix and click on Contacts. This widget here just shows the most recent ones. My Listings, as an admin, you will need to utilize this, I am sure, at some point, because an agent might want you to look something up, might want you to edit a listing of theirs. So you can actually access your office editable listings and go in and make changes to certain things. So any listings that come up for the office are going to be in this widget here. It's just a quick point of reference. You can go right to that, click on your editable listings. I'm obviously not an agent, I don't have any, but you would have more at your office. Again, the additional box here is where any of these widgets that are exited out of will go into this box where you can click and drag them back out again if you want to use them. This other widget here, it's the last widget on the page that I have, and that is called our External Links widget. It is the largest widget on the screen, full of a lot of information for you. There are several hyperlinks to websites, county tax sites. There's some organization websites here. And then down below, we do have some services that are either discounted or free for the agents to utilize. So that is the home screen widgets. These other widgets down here, they're more for an advanced class. You probably would never need to use them as an admin, but again, in your feedback, if there's something you want me to go over that I've missed, please feel free to let me know. So I'm going to go back to our search widget, which again is the quickest way that you can search for a listing or a property in the MLS. So in this widget, you can type in an MLS number if you know it, a status, a street number, a street name, county, area, and a school district. You do not have to fill all of these in order to search for property. It can just be the street name. It can just be the school district, whatever it is you need to search for. But I'm going to give you a little trick here that is going to make it easier for you to find any listing or property that you may be looking for. That little trick is called our Asterisk Key or star key. When you utilize that, you are telling Matrix to do one of three things, depending on how you place that asterisk. Because we have so many agents inputting listings, every agent is going to input an address differently, meaning if they spell out the first name of the address, and most addresses will have a suffix of lane, avenue, street, or road, drive, something like that. Some agents will spell that out. Some agents will abbreviate that. Some agents might spell it wrong or incorrectly and not know it. So the asterisk key is the way to get around that. And there's three different ways you can use it. So if you know the ending of a street name or an area name or anything like that, you can actually type an asterisk. Like say you know the ending of something, you don't know what comes before that. You would then type an asterisk before the word that you know, then type the word and click search. That's telling Matrix to search for everything in the MLS that ends with this word or phrase, and what comes before that, it doesn't matter. If you want to find something that contains a word or phrase, you would then put an asterisk before the word and an asterisk after the word or phrase, containing it in that asterisk box. So that will tell Matrix to search for everything that contains that word or phrase. If you know the beginning of a street name or word or phrase, but you don't know what comes after that, you can type in that word, then an asterisk afterwards. That will then tell the MLS to search for everything that begins with that word, and what comes after it does not matter. So I'm going to show you an example right now. I'm going to type in the word Maine with no asterisk. So if you were searching for a street or property or anything that the address starts with the word Maine, you don't know if it's Main Street, Main Road, how it's spelled out. So you would then put in Maine and an asterisk afterwards, but I'm going to show you what comes up with just the word Maine and no asterisk. When you put in Maine, you're coming up with 100 versions of the word Maine. And it's going to search for just that word specifically. Now these are units, they're in a different location on the listing page, but everything in this page that you see is going to have just the word main. So you are missing a plethora of properties that might have main street, main avenue, main drive, main road. So let's go back to our home page. And now we're going to type in main with an asterisk. So now we type that, we get 5,000. So you see here, you're typing that in. So you get main ST, main STEXT, main ST again. Oh, here's Main Street EXT, just Main Street spelled out. Let's see if we have an avenue. These are all abbreviated here. Wow, there's a lot of main streets. Well, I should have narrowed that one down. Okay, so, well, this one here says Main and Morewood. So you would then, you get the idea. There was a main drive down here. I saw a main drive. You get the idea now that without that asterisk, you only got specifically the word main. With the asterisk, you got everything that started with main and anything that came after it. So that is one of the main tricks to searching for anything in the MLS. You, of course, can also go up here to your speed bar and you can type in an MLS number here. You can type in anything abbreviated up here and see if it comes up. This here can be a little bit more specific than the speed bar. But now I'm going to show you how to do a regular search with criteria, property types, price ranges, things like that. I'm just going to show you all of this for reference. So to do an in-depth search in the MLS, you would then click on the search tab. And if you hover over it, you can choose the property type that you'd like to do a search through. I'll just stick with residential for today. The default in the system is an active status. If you want to choose any of the other statuses under here, you certainly can do that. You can uncheck active if you only want to look for solds. Whatever your purposes would be to do a search that is more in depth. I'm just going to stick with active and just show you an example of what criteria is here and how you can input the criteria for your best results. When you're using this criteria screen, you're probably going to be looking for something that is either an agent wants you to look up specifically, or someone may call the office and say, can you look this up, blah, 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 whatever the reason would be. The more criteria that you add in this page, in this search, the less amount of results you will get. Meaning if you get too specific, it can give you less choices. So the least specific you can be is better. But you certainly want to tap into all of the things that you will need to search for. So one of the main things that you're going to probably need to search for is a county or an area. It could also be a school district as well. There are currently 762 areas in our MLS and around 17 counties. So choosing one of these is going to narrow down this number here on the very bottom left of your screen. Without touching anything but the active in the screen, it gives me 5,802 matches. So let's start adding in some other criteria. I'm going to take it down to Allegheny North County. That number then goes down to 694 matches. So if we start to choose some areas, Now, I want to point out that anything in these boxes where you have many different choices, you can choose one, you can choose many. To choose more than one, you're going to click on your Control or Command key if you have an Apple, and then hold that in and use your mouse and choose as many as you would like. Same thing with this one here, but there is a search box up above. So if you wanted to type in your choices rather than searching through the entire scroll, you can certainly do that as well. Separate each one by a comma, no spaces. So if there's more than one, you can type in, say, Marshall, comma, no spaces, McCandless, another comma, Franklin Park, oops, another comma, and let's do Hampton. Okay, so I got 4 choices there. Now, if you scroll down, let's see, you're going to see Franklin Park, Hampton, Marshall. So they're all in here, and you didn't have to scroll through there to choose them that way. So you can do that one of 2 ways for that. Same with the school district here. You can type in a specific school district. Any of these boxes that you see that you can type something in, separate something with a comma with no space. So you've got your area and your county set up. Now you look down here at your matches and you went from 600 to 118. So as you can see, the more criteria I'm putting in this screen, the less choices I am getting. You want to be specific, but you don't want to be too specific. So now the price range, if you'll notice, there is a little blue box here with a check. What that means is any price that you put in this search box is going to be in the thousands. That is a default of the system. If you choose not to use that feature, you can just simply uncheck it. And now you can type in any full price here that you would like. So, but I'm going to leave it in thousands and give you that example. If you want to do a price range, you can simply type in the numbers. You can type in, like, for example, 300 dash, no spaces, 500. And then that would be a range that's telling Matrix to look for everything within that price range. If you want to do anything like a certain number and up, you would then type in, say, a 300 plus. That's going to tell Matrix to search for any home that is at least $300,000, and the sky's the limit. If you want to do anything up to a certain amount, so you don't want to go above a certain amount, you would then type in a number and then a minus. No spaces or anything like that. You just type in that in the minus, and it's telling Matrix to search for everything up to $300,000. So I think most people probably do a range, but again, like I said, there's 3 different ways that you can put in a price. You can then go from there and put in numbers of bedrooms and baths. Now, just to point out, we went from 118 to 43 matches just by putting in a price range. Now, say if you start adding in your numbers of bedrooms, you can add in the same way. You can do a range. You can do a plus, which would be 3 bedrooms or 3 bathrooms and up, or a minus, which would be up to 3 bathrooms, 3 bedrooms, whatever the number would be. I do find it more helpful to use a plus in these areas because most people don't care. As long as they say, I definitely want 3 bedrooms, I would then use a plus because it's going to give you anything 3 bedrooms and up. If they adamantly say, I don't want to go over a certain amount of bedrooms or bathrooms, then you would use the minus. So we're going to put in 3 plus bedrooms, 2 plus full baths, and 1 partial bath. My number now is 37. So there is more criteria that you can put into this screen. Down here, there's different architecture, heating type, blah, blah, blah. Keeping in mind that the more of this specific information you put in here, the less you're going to get. So if you clicked on heat pump, that yielded 0 matches. So if you ever see that example where you're putting in criteria, you come up with 0 matches, you need to go through the least important ones that you have input and take them out. To take something that you choose out of one of these choice boxes, you simply hold into your control button and click on it, and it'll take it off. So if you have all of the choices that you were like and you're ready to go with that, click on your results at the bottom of your screen. And now that brings you to this grid view. This is called the agent single line view. There is a lot of information on this view. You're going to see little icons or pictures here that tell you either if you hover over them, it'll tell you what you can view if you click on it. You can view the photos of that property, the map view of that property. You scroll over to the very end and there's more icons. You can click here and see the history, taxes, realist map, and there's a neighborhood report. Oops, I didn't mean to click on that, sorry. Okay. And then you're going to see Zip Form Plus, your property panorama supplements, and lockbox information. You'll see all of these columns here at the very top as well. They tell you, each one of them tells you a different thing. Now, admins, if you would like to move these around for your liking, you can do that by hovering over the banner of each one of these columns. You can then click and slide wherever you want them to be. You can do that with each one of these until you can't move it until you see the crosshairs. Once you see those crosshairs, you can move it wherever you'd like. Same thing with you can delete a column or insert a column as well. If you hover over the banner of one of these columns, you just left click on your mouse, and now you can either remove that column or you can insert a column if you have somebody who may want to look at something specific. When you insert a column, it does give you some choices here of what you can add into this page. Okay, so you can type it what you want in this box down here. If it does not come up, then you would then try to scroll through it and see what is available to add. Once you chose a specific row, you would click on apply, and now it shows you that on your screen. If it's something that you think you're going to utilize all the time and you want to save this view, if you clicked off of this search and then did a new search, this column would not be there because then you would have to add it again. In order to save this as your default, you would come up to your settings little gear here, click on that, and it gives you 2 choices. Oops. Set this view as your default or return it to the system search defaults. So in order to save that, you're going to click on Set This Current Display. And now your search defaults have been set. This will show up on every single one of your searches. So now I can show you too how to email listings to a client or to an agent. In order to do that, say you did your search, you have your results up here on the screen. In order to say or to email or print these out, you're going to need to highlight the ones you want to print. So you would go through all of these yourself, check on them, see which ones you need to print. Once you have them selected on the left-hand side here, you go down to the very bottom. You can either print them or email them. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, I'll show you how to add a listing. Because I know that there's a lot of agents that utilize their admins to either input listings or edit their listings. So to do that, to input a listing, you're going to need to go to your Input tab at the top of the matrix screen. Now, I'm going to point out that I will have different things on my screen that you probably won't have on yours. You do have you have an office level access, so you should be able to see more than an agent. But this screen here, the very top one is your listings, and then you have roster. I'm not sure if you have this office thing or the lockbox. You probably do, but don't quote me on that. Mainly, if you don't see it, that's because you might have you just have a different level of access than I do. So if you look under input in listings, to input an agent's listing or edit an agent's listing, you would go to either add new or edit existing. To add a brand new listing, you're going to click on add new, and then you're going to choose the property type for that listing. And then it's going to bring you to this page here where you have 3 choices on how to start that listing. The first choice, which is probably the most popular one, is to fill from realist tax. Realist tax is it's kind of the feed that we get from the county tax site to Matrix. So you will see that in county tax kind of together. They go hand in hand. So if you're going to utilize this, this method of filling in your listing, you would then choose the county that that listing is located, enter this information here on the right, and then you're going to click on search, and it'll bring up the information for that property into that listing. Saves a lot of time for agents. It would save you a lot of time too. So that is one way that you can start the listing. If you were trying to fill from cross property for an agent, filling from cross property means that that agent would need to have had that listing that they want you to start previously. So if they had listed a home for a client and say that listing went expired or withdrawn, that client can then come back to that agent and say, I'm ready to relist my house now. Can you do that? That agent would then go back into their files, find that old MLS number, and then she can fill from cross property. I want to make this very clear though. If an agent asks you to use that filling from cross property, it has to be their listing previously. They cannot utilize any other agent's listing. So if somebody else in the office sold or listed a home for a client, then that client wanted to go with a different agent, that new agent cannot use the information from the old agent. So filling from cross property, what you would do then is click there. It brings you to this criteria screen. You would then type in the list number here and choose fill from. It will fill over as much information as possible. However, if it is outdated, it won't turn over some things, and it will not transfer any photos. So new photos would need to be taken, uploaded, and entered into that listing. The last way that you can start a listing is called starting from a blank listing. And I'm going to show you that because that is also a very popular way to start a listing. When you click there, you are brought to this page. This page is giving you a brief synopsis of what it means for an active listing and a coming soon. Coming soon is fairly new. And basically what that is you can put a listing on Matrix up to a month before it goes live, drumming up interest for a specific property. So if you choose the coming soon and you click on the general tab after that, which is your listing page, you're going to see all this information in yellow. That is what you will need to fill out in order to submit this listing. And you're going to notice here, your list date is automatically filled in when you start the listing. The next one down here is called expected on the market date. You can have this as a coming soon for as little as a day, but you cannot exceed 30 days as a coming soon. So You can only go 30 days out from this list date up here at the top. You would need to fill this date in, and then you do need to fill in an expiration date. These little red warnings down here, they will always stay on the screen because we want to make sure that you're alerted to the fact that these things need to be filled in properly. Now I'm going to go back to status, and if you choose active and you go back to your listing page, you're going to notice now this expected on the market date box is not highlighted in yellow. So that means you do not have to fill that date in. It's not a coming soon. It's going to be active. You don't have to put a coming soon date in. You do, however, still have to put in an expiration date. That expiration date, this little warning here is telling you to make sure that date is correct. The main reason we put that there is because we get a lot of agents that say, I just input this listing and it disappeared after I made it go live. Chances are they put in the wrong expiration date. We're all in a habit of writing a certain year because of everything we sign and everything we fill out. When someone goes to put an expiration date in, they may not be thinking, and they put the day, expiration dates can be 365 days from the day that you started the listing. So the expiration date would then be 9/16/2021. If you inadvertently put 2020, your listing, as soon as you make it go live, is going to disappear from the system. We cannot retrieve it if that happens. So that is why we have this warning here, making sure that you're alert, you're keeping your eye on that, and you know you put the right date in. So now on a listing here, you'll see more yellow boxes that need to be filled in. The white boxes can also be filled in as well. They just aren't required to make this listing go live. So here you've put any of the information on the home itself and directions. This is your office and agent information here. Just make sure this is all correct. You would need the agent state license number and broker state license number if you're filling in an listing for an agent. In here is going to be how many total bedrooms, full baths, partial baths, year built, all of that. Down here is a little bit more information on the home itself. Showing and listing information down here is how you want this to be shown, either by appointment or call first, using showing time, whatever it would be. You would then fill in all the rest of this information. Down here is public remarks and agent remarks. Public remarks is specifically for anything other than what is on the criteria screen that is descriptive of the home. So you're not going to see every piece of criteria listed in the criteria screen when you're adding this listing. So the public remarks is a place where you can put additional things that we don't have in our criteria, such as a pool or a new roof, brand new kitchen, remodeled full top to bottom. Anything like that would go in your public remarks. Agent remarks is just like it sounds. It's anything that you want to convey to any agents, like an agent to agent kind of thing, maybe commission stuff or COVID-19 things, anything like that that you want any other agent to know, but not necessarily the client. So you've gotten all of your information that you feel is necessary into your listing. So now you have 4 different choices down here. You can either save this as an incomplete, you can validate this listing to make sure you got everything, you can cancel it altogether, or you can submit the listing right away. If you use the validate or you try to submit a listing and there is incomplete information or perhaps wrong information input, that will show up on your screen like this. Little triangles with exclamation marks inside them. So any time that you see these little red triangles with exclamation marks, that means that either you need to fill this information in or it is incorrect. So you need to fix all of those errors and then click submit and it should go live. just keeping in mind, it will not submit a listing if those fields are still red. So you will not be able to submit that listing no matter what, as long as there's still an exclamation mark there. Now, the other choice you would have is to save it as an incomplete. Two different ways that agents might save this as an incomplete or tell you to save it as an incomplete. One of the reasons would be is if more information still needs to be gathered in order to insert it into the listing. In that case, when you save it as an incomplete, incompletes will only stay in the system for 72 hours from the time you saved it as an incomplete. So if you are entering information, you still need to gather more, and you save it as an incomplete, it will give you an MLS number. Save that number, because then you can go back into that listing and edit the listing anytime you get more of your information that you need. Keep in mind, it's only 72 hours. After 72 hours, if you have not gone into that listing and edited something or saved it again as an incomplete, that listing will disappear from the system. Now, all that legwork will be gone. So make sure you're keeping an eye on the 72 hours. There is a little warning here as well, telling you that it's 72 hours as a saved as incomplete. The other reason you may want to use save as incomplete is when you upload photos to a listing. If you make this go live, this listing, the photos will not be added to it. If you'll notice in this page, there is nowhere to put any photos. So the reason being is you need to go out of the listing and go back in to edit the listing, and then you can manage photos. So that is a reason that you could save that listing as an incomplete if you don't have the photos yet. So you would save it, go right back in it, upload your photos to the Manage Photos tab, and then you can make it go live with the photos on top of it. So let me just give you an example of that. So whenever you go to edit that listing, so you saved it as an incomplete, you're going to go back, edit the listing, and add your photos. You're going to go back to Input. You're going to go to your listings, but instead of Add New this time, you're going to go to this Quick Modify box and type in the MLS number that you took down from the incomplete listing. So you put your number in, click on Edit. There's your property, and then you're going to scroll down, and you're going to see here the different type. You're going to see the property type, which is residential. If you click here, it's going to go to your coming soon or active, and then your general page where you can add and edit any of this information in here. Okay, so then you can also change the different property statuses. So if your house goes from active to contingent, contingent to under to sold, this is where you would go to change any of that. So now if you go down to Manage Photos on the very bottom there, you click there, and now you get this screen where you have a search box and a Browse tab. So you're going to click on that Browse tab and go to the folder where you have your photos for that house saved. Click on it, and it'll bring up all your photos at once. So then you can go through these photos and pick and choose which ones you want to upload to your listing. Or if you want to choose all of them, just hover over the upper left-hand corner, click your mouse and drag it down all the way, and it chooses everything at one time. Whenever you get your pictures there, you can click Open, and now your pictures are being uploaded. Once those pictures are uploaded, you're going to know that there's a red dotted line around them. That just means that these pictures are still in editable form. meaning you can hover over the banner of these pictures, click and move them around. You can click in this little empty box and delete a photo if you don't like it. You just click on delete, hit OK, it's deleted. You can also utilize this little green box up here, and it takes you to your photo, larger view of your photos, where you can rotate the photo by using these two little arrows at the top. You can add a description of this room in this photo just by clicking edit existing, or I'm sorry, oh my goodness, enter here, and then you just type in beautiful hardwood floors throughout the living room, anything that kind of gives you an idea of what that particular room is for your client. Anything you add or change in this page, you're going to click done and then save. Okay, so now at the very bottom of this page, you just have to briefly read through this statement here, and it's saying basically that you are certifying that you know where these pictures were taken or by who they were taken from, or you yourself took these photos. So you'll click certify and save, and your photos will then upload to your listing. So now I just want to show you a couple other things. To schedule an open house for a listing, you would then go to your, well, you're in the input screen already, under your edit existing, and open houses is right below change to sold. If you click on here, then you can add in as many open houses for that specific property. You can add more than one, you can add just one. So just clicking this more button down here, it tells you that you can add more than one. Okay. Okay, so now that is how you're going to add a listing, enter the photos, save it as an incomplete or to make it go live. Oh, let me show you this one thing, because you will be logging in as yourself. You're an admin. Most admins have a 500 number to log into the MLS. So you will not be able to add listings under your name. So the way to get around that is when you add a listing, oh, there it is. Okay, so when you add a listing, your number automatically is going to come up in this listing agent ID. To change that, all you do is you just delete it and then type in the actual agent's, the listing agent's number. After you type in their number, you must hit refresh, and then it will then refresh that page, and now your agent's listing information will come up here. So that is how you're going to change and make sure your agent, the correct agent's name is in a listing. The other thing you're going to have to do too, if you don't have this information from your agent, you need to get it from them, is room sizes. If you click on the rooms tab in this screen, you're going to see room type, room level, and size. The agent does have to measure this, so you need to enter that information, and you can click on more as many times as you need for however many rooms that there are in a specific property. Okay. So that is how you add a listing. Okay, so now what I'm going to show you is how you can change personal information of an agent in the MLS. In order for you to do that, you're going to go back to your Input tab, and you're going to go under Roster. You're not going to add new, you're going to click on edit existing. So if you have an agent that says, I changed my email address, I changed my phone number, I changed my address at home, anything like that, you can do it from the input roster, the input roster tab. When you click on the roster, you're going to click on edit existing and then put in their username up at the top here. So you would choose that and click modify. Oops. You would put their name in here. Doesn't want to work for me. Click modify, and then it brings up their information here. You would then click on agent edit and make any changes in here that you would like to make. And then once you're done, make sure at the very bottom you click on submit agent, and that will go right into our database and it will automatically auto-populate everywhere in the system. If an agent wants to change their name to a nickname, if they got married or divorced, anything that they would need to change a name for, they have to change it with the state first. We here at the MLS can only go by what is on their license. So if something has changed in that respect where they have to change their name, there is a form on the state website that they can request a name change. When it's approved, you can then just send us the paperwork and we'll go ahead and get their name changed. Okay, so one of the other things you're going to need to do is to learn how to run a Lockbox report. You should be able to set up some kind of a system where your agents will need to either log in or log a lockbox out and then bring it back to you. The lockboxes that we provide here from the MLS, they are owned by the MLS. Some other MLSs have their agents buy lockboxes, and then they keep their own lockboxes in their own inventory. But here at the RMLS, we actually distribute them out to the different firms. That being the case, then you will need to each office needs to keep track of the lockboxes they have assigned to their office. So you would need to run a lockbox report, maybe monthly, weekly, depending on how many lockboxes you have going in and going out, just so you have an idea of how to keep track of those unused lockboxes. Or if you do have a lockbox that comes back, you distribute it to another agent, they try to put it on a listing, and it says, you can't use this lockbox because it's being used by someone else. You being able to keep track of all of that, then you can then look up that lockbox, who it was assigned to last, and then you can go ahead and tell them, hey, you need to take this lockbox off of one of your old listings. To run the lockbox report, you can do one of two things. You can go to search here and go down to Lockbox, the search tab, go down to Lockbox. You can type in a specific serial number. You can type in an office number or an office name, date assigned to office, if you wanted to do that as well. You can choose unassigned or assigned, whatever type of report you would want to run. Once you input that information, you click on results. Or you can run a lockbox report by doing market reports. And below here, you're going to see lockbox inventory. And then you're going to put in the information here, agent's number, expiry date, or if you just leave it blank, it's just going to give you all of the offices. Let me just see here. I'm trying to think of an office number. Let's just see what happens if I click generate. We actually don't have any lock boxes here at our office, so I mean, we do, but they're not assigned. It is taking a long time. Okay, clearly I need to narrow that down. Okay, so basically you would just put in the specific criteria that you would want in here, and then run your report. I believe this is going to be the same page. Yes. Okay. This one's a little different because I think anybody can use this one, but you have the office level, so you would be staff. Okay. So you can either run the report through the market reports or through your search going down to Lockbox. You can then run your search that way. What the search will actually bring up is every lockbox that is assigned to your office. It's going to say who it was assigned to, and it's going to say what property it was assigned to as well. If it is unused, it'll have a U beside it. And if it has an unused thing, that just tells you that's a box that you can give to somebody else. And it kind of gives you a way of keeping track of the lock boxes. Just keep in mind that if any of the lock boxes are lost, the cost of one of those lock boxes is $214. West Penn will then charge your office or the specific agent that $214. So it's very important to keep track of them, just so your agents and your office doesn't incur a lot of fees. Because we then have to buy them again from Supra if they're lost. If a lockbox is defective, you can return it to West Penn here in person or by mail. So if you're testing it before you give it to an agent, nothing's happening, it won't open. Mark it as defective, give us a call. You can bring it in person or you can just mail it in to us, whatever your preference is. You do not need a reference number if it is defective. You just either send it into us or bring it into us. We'll either give you a replacement, or if we see that you have a bunch of unused lock boxes, we'll just suggest that you use another unused one. If a lockbox is not being able to be removed from a door on a home, that particular situation does require a reference number from Supra. You would then have to contact Supra, let them know the situation, and that reference number is actually giving the agent permission to either cut that lockbox off of the door or somehow destroy it and able to open it. When it is taken off the door, you will then bring it into the West Penn multi-list, and we will have to send it back to Supra. Again, we can then either reimburse you or we can issue you a new lockbox, or if you have a lot of lockboxes unused in your office inventory, you can then just go ahead and issue the agent another lockbox. If it has been taken off the door and the reference number has been obtained and that lockbox is never brought back into the office, say it got thrown away or something like that, there will be a charge of the $214. So that is the lockbox information that you will need to know. Just let me look here and see if there's any other things that I missed in the lockboxes. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to tell you about is how to run an agent production report. As the admin, you may be asked to run certain reports on the agents in the office. You might have to do that monthly, periodically, whatever you would need to do it for. So what you would then do is go to your Market Reports tab at the very top of your screen, and you're going to scroll down to Agent Production Report. when you click on that, it is going to bring up all of the agents in your, I think you might have to put in an agent ID number. Let's just see. Okay, so what that will do is it's going to give you an agent production report on your office, the office that you are currently working in, and that those numbers will come up on that production report, and they'll break it down into different categories. Now, the agents themselves can run a production report as well, but it would only be for their specific production information. So whenever you're at the office level, which you will be, this will be counted for your office, unless you specifically put in an agent's ID number. So that is how you would do an agent production report. I believe you can also, no, you can't do an office production report. That's only for firm. Let's see here. The office production report, I believe, is just going to say, it's not going to break it down per agent. It's going to break it down per office. Yeah, it looks the same on my screen as the other one because we obviously don't have any agents here. But the other one would then break it down by agent. This is breaking it down for the whole office. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so I'm just going to explain to you then the Help tab. In case you have any issues or questions about how to do something in Matrix, I just want to show you under the Help tab, under your Hello and then your name tab up in the top right corner, click there, and it gives you a couple choices of either admin, or you may not have admin, but settings, help, mobile, and logout. Click on the Help tab and it brings up this screen here. What's new in Matrix X is just the new changes that they made to the visual parts of Matrix. You can look in there and see what's new. We do have Matrix training guides here and Matrix video tutorials. Specifically, you can go to the search one and there's a lot of frequently asked questions about how to do searches. There's a speed bar, emailing. You probably won't have to do a CMA, but there is a CMA here. So on and so forth. If you go to Matrix training guides, we here at the MLS put together a list of frequently asked questions. The very first one here is how to change my email and password and personal information in Matrix. I did show you how to do that. That's under the input screen under roster. If you forget how to do that, that is the very first one in the Matrix FAQ. But I always recommend that you read through these. A lot of times these questions will pop up and more than likely they'll be here, the answers. If not, you can always give our office a call with any questions that you may have regarding the MLS. Our number here is 412-367-5860, or you can always send us an email at inbox@westpennmls.com. Now, I do want to go over a few other things that our key department has wanted me to pass along to you as an admin. I don't know if you will be doing the sending over paperwork for new agents or reactivating agents, or if agents have transferred to or from your office. It is important that we get the paperwork when any of these changes occur, because we then can change them in our database and it causes less strife with the agent and the offices when the time comes. So to add a new or to reactivate an agent, you need to submit the forms from Zip Form Plus. Your broker needs to sign these forms. You can fill it out, but you would need to have your broker sign it or look over it before it is sent over to us. But those two forms that you would need to send over would be the new agent or agent status change form and the new or reactivating agent information. Both of those forms would need to be sent over if it's a new agent or a reactivating agent. If you want to remove an agent from your staff, from your office, you would need to send over just the new agent or agent status change form and the state paperwork, which say that either their license has expired, they're going into escrow, or a letter or email that was sent to the state. So if you sent it into the state through email, just a copy of that email is sufficient for us to take them off of your roster. And if you want to transfer an agent to or out of your office, same thing, the new agent or agent status change form would need to be submitted. Make sure you put the email, their new email address if they're transferring into your office. That way we can add it to our database without the agent wondering why it's not there. There may not be a space for it on the form itself, but if you could put it on there somewhere, that would be great. And that actually concludes my class for today. Hopefully I've helped you out a little bit. Again, feedback is welcome. Don't type it in the chat box here because once I close out this class, anything in the chat box goes away. But if you do have any questions, please send me an email at inbox@westpennmls.com or give me a call. My name is Karen. It's 412-367-5860. Thank you everybody for coming and joining the class. Have a great day. Enjoy this hazy sunshine that we've got, and hopefully the smoke goes away soon. Hopefully those fires get put out too. Enjoy the rest of your day.